Hi guys, this is the extended, more detailed tutorial for the 3D candy strawberry that I did a short tutorial on. So what you'll need is some sort of red shaded bead for the base. You'll need yellow beads for the seeds, not as many as the red ones, and green beads for the leaves and the beginning. So how much string you'll need is kind of like an arm span, or wingspan I guess. The more the better, honestly, but don't make it too long, just make it comfortable enough to work with, but not too short so that you hopefully won't have to tie any on. So string on 8 green beads and tie it together. So this will be the base of the strawberry. It should look like a square by the time you tie it. So just kind of pop in any beads, like press them in if they're sticking out, and it should look okay. I'm tying it. Yeah, so it should look something like that when you're done. So see, you can just kind of slide the bead in. After that, you're just gonna want to cut off the shorter end, but don't cut it too short because it can possibly just let loose and break. So after that, what we'll do is get your, well, I'm using pink beads, so string 2 beads on, and this is, we're going to be making the base. So string 2 beads on, and then go through the next corner bead. You can kind of see that the string is facing, yeah, you can see that it's facing that bead, so you're going to go from the inside and string out. Then after that, you'll string on 2 more beads and go through the next corner bead, and just keep doing that. So now you should be done, and you should end up in a green bead, but then you're gonna pull it through the next, what am I doing? Oh god. So then you're gonna want to pull it through the next pink bead to kind of end up on the top row, or the last row that we did. And that's going to be a pattern we're going to be following, so you're going to end up on the top always. So now what we're going to do is keep adding beads in between the gaps. So string on a pink bead, and it should kind of land in that lodge that we created in the last row. Then we're going to string another bead, and it's going to go in between the 2 pink beads. And we're just going to go around like that, kind of what we did with the last row. So just keep doing that until the end of the row. You're gonna end up in a pink bead, but then we're gonna string back to the top. So here, I just finished the row and I ended up in the lower pink bead. So if we tied in what we've done so far, you should kind of see the green part kind of pop out. It's gonna be like a level higher. So then we go through the top bead, so the higher pink bead. And now we're going to start another row, and in this one we're going to start adding the seeds, so the yellow beads. And we're just kind of going to keep going around, like adding beads in the spaces between the previous beads. So here I stringed on a yellow bead, and it kind of went in that gap between the beads. But we're going to be following a checker pattern, so it's going to go yellow, pink, which is what I'm doing right now. And after that, it's going to be yellow again. So, string on another yellow bead. Okay. I got it, I can do it. So string on a yellow bead and pull it through. And once again, we're going to keep following that pattern all around until we end up in a pink bead next to the first yellow bead that we put on. So here I'm pulling through the pink bead that was next to the first yellow bead that we put on, and now I'm gonna, so I'm showing that it's kind of like a square, so we have 4 of the yellows and 4 of the pinks. It's pretty distinct, they're kind of popping out of the rest of the strawberry so far. So 4 yellow beads, 4 pink beads. and now I'm going through the yellow bead. So back to the top row, the last row that we did. And this time we're gonna go only pink, no yellow, only pink, because we want there to be some space in between the seed beads to kind of maintain that checkered pattern. So this row is pretty normal, kind of like all the other ones we've done so far. Just go in between the gaps until you're done with the row. So here should have ended up in a yellow bead, and now we're going to string back to the top, so go through that last pink bead that's on the higher level, and now we're done with the all pink row. So what we're going to do next is do another row of seeds, but this time, okay, what am I doing, god. So you should kind of see there's a space like, between the two pink beads. So we're going to string on another yellow bead and put it in that space. So it's kind of like a checkered pattern because it goes yellow, yellow on top, yellow on bottom, yellow on top again. But in order to maintain that checkered pattern, we're gonna go with another pink. So just like, I think it was the second row we did, just go in the order like yellow, pink, and once again, do that until you finish the row. So here we ended up in another pink bead after finishing the row. It was another seed row, so now we're gonna go back to the top, to the yellow bead that was slightly higher than the rest. And now we're just gonna keep following the pattern. So after following that same pattern, you should do it until you end up with kind of like a side that looks like a 5 on a die. I think I'll put a picture on the side for reference. But now what we're going to start to do is kind of close our strawberry. So we ended up in a yellow bead. It's just an empty string, and the empty string we pull through the next bead to start to tighten it. So by not putting an extra bead, we're just gonna start to close it in. But next, this is another all pink row. So no bead, then a pink bead. And then this time, no bead again. Put it through the pink bead with no bead, then take another pink bead and put it through, and do that until you finish the row. So there we should have ended up in a yellow bead after closing off that row. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pink beads that are kind of sticking out, and now we're just gonna go back to our previous pattern, which is adding a bead in between every bead that's popping out. So string on another pink bead. Oh, my camera fell, my bad guys. So string through the next bead with the pink bead. We're not skipping beads now, just between every bead we're gonna add a pink bead. I feel like I'm over explaining, I'm so sorry. So I'm pulling in my last bead, and you should kind of see like the green base forming but in pink. So now we're not gonna add a bead. So we just pull it through the middle one of the bottom and tighten it, and we should get that air quotes like 8 base again. But now we're gonna want to close off that middle, so get another bead. So, and you can kind of see that it's going from the right, so we're gonna go in through the left of the opposite middle bead. So there it is, and so we tighten it, and there we have it. Our strawberry is closed. Now you can proudly tie it off. And the next part, which is kind of optional, is doing the leaves, and that's the only thing left to do. If you don't want to do the leaves, then you're done. Good job. So for those of you who do want to leave, so we're gonna string back to the top, and what I mean by that is kind of like we're gonna just pull through the beads until we reach the top. So you can kind of see where it should be going. You can kind of follow the previous lines of the beads. It's probably just gonna go in a diagonal line up to the top. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here. It's just, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Going in a diagonal line until I reach the top. And the top is the green base. So after you get to the closest bead to the green base, you're gonna go through the corner bead, and then we're gonna start making the leaves themselves. So you're gonna take 3 green beads. They don't have to be the same color as your base, just have fun with it. So 3 beads, string them on, and just kind of, if you've ever done a ladder, if you have ever done a ladder craft before, this is going to be pretty easy, but even if not, it's fine. So you're going to go through the bottom of the second bead from the end of the string, and it should kind of look a bit like a chain. So after you did that, you're going to go through the bottom of the last bead, or the bead closest to the base, and do that same thing. So going through the bottom, exactly like a ladder craft. And that should be good. So then you just want to tighten it and bring it closer to the base, kind of what I'm doing here. And after you did that, you're gonna take the string and kind of fixate that bead by going through the next corner bead. So my string was too fluffy, so I cut it off, but I hope everything's fine for you. So just go in through that bead, and you have your first leaf, and the rest of it is just going to be the same thing. So if you're as unlucky as me, you're going to have to turn more string. So what you're going to do is get the new string and the old string. So put the old string on top of the new string, just like a cross. I'm showing it again. So, and then tie, just like a normal knot, tie the new string around the old string, and you're gonna do that 2 or 3 times, because at any time it can easily just slip off and all your progress is gonna be ruined. Not to scare you, but that can happen, especially if you're a beginner. So just tie it a few more times. So tug on it a bit to make sure that it's alright, and then kind of put the 2 ends together, get your scissors and cut off, but leave just a bit of a tail behind, because you really don't want it to just snap and break. Tug on it to make sure it's alright, and then you're good to keep going with your project. So when you're done with all of your leaves, this is kind of what your strawberry should look like. So you're gonna end up in the corner bead that you started with, and now you just have to tie your project off. So just do it how you would normally do it. Do it a few times, 3 or 4, the more the better, honestly. And then just cut it off. So if you're wondering what you can do now that you have this great strawberry, I like to make them into keychains. So I use this kind of little strip with a hook on it that I got from Daiso. You just kind of pull it through the top of the strawberry. You can do this with anything. You can use this as a keychain, just leave it in your room. It's not in my control. But I just tighten it around the strawberry, and there I have it. Now all I have to do is just attach it to my bag. As you see, I already have my first strawberry on there too, even though I have way too many keychains and trinkles on my bag. There it is. And you can have it too. I mean, you do have it.